coming out right now. Everybody got to go.
There were no musicians in my family, and I got a record player. And the first couple of albums I got was The Doors, The Who, and Kiss. Ace Frehley from Kiss is a major, major influence. In fact, you can still hear some of the stuff I've stolen from him through the years. Some other influences: Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, Pete Townsend from The Who, Jimi Hendrix. I've always gone for the old, what they call a power trio type of sound: guitar, bass, drums. But those four guys are, I'd say, the core of my guitar existence. The fact is when you start off, you're not very good, and you feel like you're not going to get good. For instance, I think it was 1977, 78, 79, when Van Halen came out, and I heard Eruption for the first time. It made me put down the guitar for like 2 months because it was just beyond anything I had ever heard. And it really discouraged me because I said I could never do that. It's good and bad. I've been in a band steadily playing out since I'm 18 years old. I've never stopped. One band would break up and I'd move right to the next band. So you get those good memories, but there's also a lot of nights that, you're out late, beat you up the next day, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. In the beginning, I wouldn't call it a struggle, but there were times where I would play, and there were times where I'd put the guitar down for 3 months and wouldn't touch it. And probably after about 2 years, that's when it started. I started to become well enough, good enough to play with other people, and that's really where it took off. I do play always with a band, but sometimes it'll be a duo or a trio, or like my previous gig, we had a 7-piece band. But I'll never do really a solo. Number one, I can't sing and play guitar at the same time. It's just physically hard for me to do. And number two, my voice isn't the greatest. And number three, I don't like being the spotlight. I don't like being the center of attention. I prefer to have somebody else singing and playing along with me, and I like to add in. We played in the beginning, it was all over Queens and Long Island. Some of the bigger joints were Nobody's. We played the Limelight twice in the city, which was a big deal. More recently, with the Katie Mitchell Band, we've played the Bitter End, which is a club in New York City that's been there since the 60s. I make some money. It's not a lot of money for a 3-hour set. I usually make about $100. It's very nerve-wracking for me to this day, 45 years later. And even now, I'm not completely confident. I get jitters every time before we start a show. When I get into a good jam with good musicians and you just get that feeling that this is working, it becomes effortless. I do it for the other musicians. I don't do it for the crowd. In fact, once we start playing, I often forget about the crowd. That's where the joy comes from. I'm mostly an electric guitar player. I have a couple of acoustics and stuff like that. I'll mess with them, but given the choice, I'll take an electric guitar. My mainstay is like hard rock. I also like some country and blues. It comes and goes, but yes, I've written a lot of original material and recorded a lot of demos and original material. Being a guitar player and musician is just, it's not something you can force. It's just, you don't know why it happens. So you just wake up one day and you start playing. I couldn't stop if I wanted to. For anyone out there learning guitar or trying to get going, my only real advice is get out there and play with people. That's what's going to make you better. Sitting in your room playing with a record will teach you the notes, but getting out there and interacting with other musicians and other ideas, that's where you're really going to grow. And go out of your comfort zone. Try some country, try some hard rock. You got to be out there with people. Don't sit in your bedroom.
John Botten, ladies and gentlemen.